This one is ABBA, Mamma Mia. We also had Marvin Gaye coming through, giving us Mercy, Mercy Me. It's Capital 100.4 FM. Harare Zapi. As always, Thursday will not be complete before we end it without revving our engines, our cars. So this is that thing we do every single Thursday with our favorite car voices. You two can also come in and join in some fun. All right, petrol heads, as always, Thursday will not be complete before we do what we do the most, and that's spending some time with you talking about things that are happening in the automotive industry from Zimbabwe beyond the borders, and anything that may affect us, whether it's gadgets and gears, whether it is new models. We talk about right here on Capital 100.4 FM, Harare Zabi. We call this Under the Hood, and of course, if you have a question around your car, you can call us in 0719 100 and we try to talk it out with you right here on Under the Hood. As always, we take a look at what's been happening. We call it Car Talk News in our industry and the automotive trends that may be in and around us. And of course, this show would not be complete, not only without you, but of course, without Tafadzwa Nyabuta, our favorite car marketing executive coming from ZIMOCO. We also have on the line Tanaka, our favorite EV enthusiast. He's also very pivotal in our car culture in our country. Tanaka is on the line because he is in South Africa. He promises us every week, Tafadzwa, that he's going to be in studio, and we are watching the door every week, hoping that he will swing through it.
One day he'll come. One day. We have faith.
We do have faith. We do have faith that you are gonna come in. So let's get right into it. Taf, tell us what's first on your lineup of events that have been happening in, and Tanaka will also get to share in what's he's finding interesting this week.
So one thing I've noticed is we talk about cars a lot. We talk about the design. We talk about how much power the engine has. We talk about electrification of vehicles. But we never talk about the unsung heroes about new car technology, which is some of the other things, other systems, which have benefited from a lot of advancements. And one of those things is the very simple headlight. We just think of headlights as headlights, they light our way at the night, but we don't really think about what is the future of headlights. Where are we going with headlights? We've gone from headlights used to be flame driven, used to be flames actually, a little lamp. Back in the days when you had carts. Cars are considered cars of back in the days. Then they developed to a bulb, which was not efficient. Then it went to halogen lights later on. Now we have LED lights, and that is now gone a step forward because this lighting technology has moved to such an extent that it's becoming much, much, much smarter, just like our smartphones. And automakers are pushing the boundaries when it comes to lighting, and moving beyond the simple headlight is the long and short of it. We now have very high resolution digital lighting, incorporating LED technology, which has a lot of benefits for the future of headlight technology and for the driver for vehicles that have this technology in it already. So these systems comprise a number of LED lights, or which are tiny little, if you want to call it little bulbs, or very smart little light emitting diodes, which is what LED is, incorporating the headlamp. And these are clever in the sense that if you have an array of all these little LEDs in the headlight configuration, they can have a lot of different functions, a lot of different purposes, which enhance the driving, the drive itself. One, they can actually highlight pedestrians and obstacles in the road. So if a driver is driving along and maybe hasn't seen that there's a pedestrian, these lights now have, this technology rather, now has the ability to actually light up obstacles in your peripheral view so that you become aware that something is coming or approaching the vehicle, maybe in the direction that you're traveling. They can also create light tunnels, which means that there's no more dazzling of cars coming towards you, and also can shine the light much further, which means you see a lot further up the road than you would otherwise. They can also illuminate the road ahead of you with warning symbols, so that you know that, again, if an obstacle is coming, if you've taken a wrong turn, they can actually alert you by putting symbols or illuminating the road in front of you with different symbols or warning signs to show you that, hey, listen, you're traveling forward, but be aware that this is a one-way, you're in the wrong side of the road, there's a stop sign coming, things of that nature, or maybe there's construction work happening. It can actually alert you of that. So light isn't just about lighting the road anymore. It's now a very important safety tool, And with that comes a lot of technology and a lot of advancements. And as we always say, these advancements will definitely filter down towards cheaper and more affordable cars that the lay or the average person can drive, and which means car driving is becoming safer because of such technology.
All right. So, quick question. I used to drive one of the cars that you sell, and they used to have what they call xenon bulbs or xenon lights.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between that technology and what LED light? Because at that time,
Mm-hmm.
xenon lights.
That was the technology
right?
at the time. Yeah.
So what is the difference?
Xenon came after halogen lights, and essentially it was a brighter, longer lasting light bulb technology. So one, it helped with light projection, so it projected a lot further. Two, it was a cleaner light. When you say cleaner light, the color of the light, you tend to find they were slightly more blue or neutral in color, not yellow. Didn't have a tinge of yellow in it, which meant that it was more neutral in terms of how it lit up the areas in front of you. So it helped. That kind of lighting helps to identify other obstacles in front of you. It's easier to see obstacles in the light of that color temperature, if you want to get a bit more technical with it. So there were an improvement. Then after that came LED technology, of course. I think, yes, there was xenon cornering, which is just a fancy way of saying that this light bulb technology now had the function where if you turn your steering wheel, it would illuminate, or a second bulb would come on to illuminate the direction that you're turning into. But this was then replaced by LED technology, which again goes a step further. It lasts longer. So an LED headlamp can literally last, in some cases, if you're really careful, the lifespan of the car. So imagine you'd have to replace your headlights because they last a long time. Yes, that's best case scenario. They can maybe fail sooner, but they last a lot longer than xenon and halogen. They project a lot further, and with the new advancements in technology, you can now incorporate some of these smart features, which helps it to identify or illuminate pedestrians, obstacles, and make your drive a lot safer.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me or Tanaka, to your experiences as well. Like with these newer cars, these LED lights, I find some of them are actually blinding, even though they're not even on full beam. Like, you know, you can flash someone, say, "Sure, my lights are," and then you realize, oh, I saw somebody full beamer, but they're actually dipped. But I don't got zamazi. So are we not going to be blind by the time we're 50 at this rate, Tanaka?
To be honest, I used to do a lot of night driving.
Hey, what's kwadza?
These real lights, when they are far away, they're like bluish. When they come closer, they get whitish. When they come closer, they get blue. You know, I like the new lights because, yes, they're brighter. You can see, you don't even need to do my full beam and out.
Yeah.
But I get worried about the other driver because I always talk about driving is not about you, it's about the other driver. Imagine if that other driver is blinded, the next thing automatically they're gonna either steer right into your oncoming or steer left. I think maybe we need to, at least what can we do with dealerships or leading on 6 second cars, actually explain on these new cars. My lights are, sometimes you need to be careful with them. What's wrong when you can pass them? I can't take them right.
Yes.
I think I was corner, but with the blue ones, I want but you can actually see. So, yeah, always comes with consequences.
Yeah.
It's good sometimes, it's bad. I like them, but to a certain extent, in
my one.
Yeah, so I think the problem with those lights, the ones that are dazzling people on the roads, particularly with your second-hand vehicles that are brought in, I think those are probably xenon headlamps, and the issue is not the lights themselves. Yes, they are bright, but I think it's the headlight leveler that is in the wrong position. So what is the headlight leveler? This actually helps you manually adjust how far up or far down the headlamp is actually projecting its light. And it's a bit of a funny scale because the lower the number, the higher up the light is shining, and the higher the number, the lower the light is, the closer the light is coming towards the car in terms of illumination. So it's a strange scale. So in most cars, the scale goes from 1 to 5. In some cars, 1 to 3, but in most cases, 1 to 5. I would advise people to get closer to either use the setting of 0 or 1. That does two things. It stops you dazzling people coming towards you because the light is dipped a bit further down. When you put it at the 0 setting, you're pretty much going up a hill and you want maximum illumination. So you intentionally force the light to shine upwards. unfortunately for the person coming towards you, you are shining straight into their eyes. So I think it's mostly a headlight leveling issue. People should just look. Usually on the right-hand side of the steering wheel, you'll find a little dial, or it could be buttons in some cases, that goes from 1 to 5 or 1 to 3. And bring it down closer to 0 or 1. You'll find that might actually get rid of that problem.
Yeah, 0719-100-404. Are you experiencing this problem that we are highlighting, where you are driving, but you always feel as if other people are moving around with their lights on full beam, and then you realize, especially if you flash them to say, "Sharp, can you dip your lights?" You realize, no, actually they're not on full beam. Tanaka is suggesting that they're coming with their lights that are dazzling us, and is wondering what it is that we can do so that we can survive better. And Taf is saying, yeah, I suspect it's because their leveling is on the wrong place, rather than facing down, and that may be causing an effect. Quick question: if you are in your car right now, or if you're able to check, can you actually check your headlight dial? Right, some people have a dial, others have like a flicking thing to see where your headlights are. Are they on 0? Are they on 1, or up to 5? Where are they placed? And do what I said, or did you actually place that between 1 and 5, and why did you do that? I also think us not having street lights, or a lot of street illumination, is part of the reason why we are then forced to adjust and adapt our lighting. And I think most of us, I wish I could do research on this, but I've been thinking about this. I'm pretty sure most Zimbabweans, by the time we hit 60, 65, our sight has been impacted by the fact that we don't have natural street lighting, and thus we're having to work with what we have in our car to improve the lighting, which should normally come from working street lights.
Yeah, I think that those dazzling headlights do have an impact, and I think we can't ignore that we're in a digital environment or digital world now, where our eyes are exposed to a lot of light. Any doctor will tell you that if we're outside, particularly where we live in the world, you should have sunglasses on to protect your eyes. But not so much people take care to protect their eyes when you're on your cell phones, when you're watching television, when you're in a very bright room with lights, and then when you're driving at night with bright lights coming in.
Yeah.
But that's where this advancement in headlight technology comes in, because the LED technology is coming in. Actually, is cognizant of that. The car recognizes a car coming in the opposite direction, and what it does, it actually bends the light, so it actually shines away from the light that's oncoming and only illuminates the road that you're looking at. So that's part of the smart tech that's come in. Dazzling drivers has been something that's been around for years, and not just in Zimbabwe, Africa, but all over the world. It is an issue. When oncoming traffic is coming, you don't want to dazzle them. The smart headlight technology is now making it very possible that you don't have to think about it. You don't have to dip your lights.
Yeah.
The car will automatically do it for you when it recognizes there's a car coming, and it actually steer the light away from the oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
For you as a driver, you don't see any impact at all. All you see is a well-illuminated road in front of you, without having to think about, oh, so and so is coming from the opposite direction, and this and that and that.
Yeah.
So this technology is going to be very good in that sense.
So just to point of clarity there, this LED, is it the same? Because I thought laser headlights was the actual newer technology, right? That was started in Germany, where they've come up with a certain technology, and the lights can see like up to 600 meters away. Is this the same thing that you?
It's pretty much the same thing. It's just a naming thing. They call it laser lights. There is going to be, but it's essentially LEDs. Like you said, the country of origin where this technology has been put out is Germany. And you find most of your German cars, especially high-end vehicles, this is something that's actually there. They call it, I think it's called laser lighting in BMWs. In Mercedes-Benz, they call it digital lighting, but it's essentially the same technology. It's all LED based. There is thousands of these little LEDs inside the headlamp, and each can be individually lit depending on circumstances. So this is how they can draw patterns on the road to tell you about warnings and actually steer the light away from oncoming traffic. So it's all one and the same technology, and it is very clever and definitely the way to go forward in terms of tech.
Okay, I'm slightly confused there, because okay, all right, let's get Tanaka back online. I'm seeking clarity here, because what I had understood is that these laser headlights, right, like you're saying, they're providing super long distance illumination, right, introduced in Germany for high speed driving. And then I thought, unlike LED headlights. They are using what they're calling a laser diode that has like micro mirrors, and it has like an element that creates white light in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you're saying, this technology does allow you to be able to adjust the beam width. It's making it possible for you to be able to switch from the narrow, the wide, and the long range, but they're supposed to be different from LED.
Right. So I guess that's a good question for that. You will find in some cars right now, you find there's an LED bulb, which is just a small cluster of LEDs, just in a fixed bulb that projects straight. Then in some cases, newer cars, you have auto headlight leveling systems, which means that you don't have to adjust the level up or down like we talked about earlier, which you do it manually. Then there's the advanced version of that same headlight, which is pretty much what you're describing, the laser light. And it's essentially the same kind of technology, but just super enhanced. In terms of I think you find that in double cabs these days, or pickups, you find that you will see on the screen, I mean, even the car I drove here, it says LED headlight. But it's a small cluster of LEDs. It's bright, it doesn't have to be, it has the cost savings, it doesn't have to be replaced often. It lasts for a long time and there's a very clean light. But it's just grouped up in a little ball that replaces the xenon or the halogen bulb ordinarily. Now, the one you're talking about, the laser technology or headlight technology, is essentially the super graded version of that, where it's not, let's just call it 150 LEDs bunched together. It's now 20,000 little smaller LEDs bunched together in this handlight, which can now have super precision, they can actually illuminate up to 1 kilometer in front of you on a straight road, or bring the light back as close as maybe 2 meters in front of the car. It's all done automatically because the system now means it can manipulate which LEDs are being switched on essentially at each time and for what reason, and it gives you a more precise focus on the beam, or it can actually enhance safety elements like projections and things of that nature.
All right, we're going to get Tanaka back on the line. And to make it worse, most drivers, especially the recently qualified ones or the young generation, do not know at all how to use their lights, when to dim or flash. People should go for night driving lessons. Because I still so it seems like we're not the only ones that are feeling, the effect of our lights on our roads. 0719-100-40. What do you think the problem is that's making night driving difficult for us in Zim, especially when it comes to headlights? But still what do you think is going on? And I was just asking you to check in your own car to see your headlight setting. Where is it sitting? Did you put it there yourself, or it's just always been there and you don't even know why? Can you tell the difference of the positioning of your headlight? 0719-100-404. As I'm trying to get Tanaka back online, we were talking about advancements that are happening in headlight technology. Talk to us, Taf, about the increased in focus entertainment and connectivity. What's that about?
Yeah, so we've been talking about screens in cars getting bigger and bigger, infotainment systems, and we talked about newer cars that are being released having massive screens inside them. I think you find them mostly in the electric vehicles that are being released. There's a big tech focus on the infotainment screens. There's more information being displayed. The screens are getting bigger, which gives coverage to the people, not just the people in front, but the people in the back. This is basically what we're talking about: infotainment in the car, entertainment of the car, and connectivity of cars. So as we live in the digital age, our cars are now talking to our cell phones, are now talking to the internet, and information is king. We live in the information age, which is why these screens are getting bigger, because you can do so much more on them, and they can display so much more. And it's for a reason. I think we had an argument a few weeks ago to say, is this not a distractive thing? Does it not distract drivers from what they're supposed to be doing, which is driving?
Right.
And we talked about some of them are clever and they get themselves dimmed so that they don't distract the driver, but allow focus on your passengers. But not anymore. The technology has gone so far forward and cars are getting so connected that these are actually enhancing the driving experience. And how do we say this? Because in as much as these cars are getting more connected, the screens are getting bigger. How we interact with cars is no longer buttons, a clicky button. We can now interact with cars using touch. We can interact with cars using our voice, and we can interact with cars using gestures. So these screens and this technology, in terms of them getting bigger, ease of access, a car being connected to the internet, now means that we've got different touch points we can actually talk to and interact with the vehicle. So imagine you're driving along on a long distance drive. You don't have to get distracted by your phone because it's connected to your car. You can use your voice just by talking to the car. You can actually send a message. You can make calls. It can read out messages to you. You can reply. All this information is actually being put onto the screen in a very non-destructive way. There's your other assistance systems like your driver assistance systems that we talked about last week, which you keep the car straight, so the driver doesn't have to focus as hard as they used to before. Now let's go back in history a bit. Cruise control came about because it was a system meant to take off some of the workload on vehicles on long trips, so that you can just set a speed and then the car does the thing. That's been developed to your adaptive cruise control. So these are all things that take away less work from the driver, much like these screens and how cars are getting connected. Before, you used to have to change gears, but now we have your automatic gearboxes. And now we've got automatic gearboxes that have got much more gears than before. So people shouldn't look at these screens and how they're getting bigger and how cars are actually getting more connected to your phone and the internet. It's actually good things. They're getting bigger because the driving element of the cars are doing more of that for you, which means information about what's happening around you is more important, which is why the screen's getting bigger.
So
how you interact with it is now becoming much more broad as well.
So are we having to train the car your voice recognition? Is it any voice that can activate these things?
So Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are the two main systems or operating systems that are in place. And you find that they do get trained to a specific voice, so they know who they're talking to, so they can give you better results. But in a car, as you're driving along, any voice that prompts will have a certain function. But the driver's voice, of course, always takes priority. And usually we assume that it's the driver's phone that's connected to the system at the time. And if you're in an enclosed system, the cars do learn that, oh, this voice belongs to so-and-so and so-and-so. Or you can set a profile and to listen to that when it comes to driver-related tasks.
Now, one thing I've noticed, we've lost Anaka there, but he's back online. It's Capital 100.4 FM, Harare Zabe. Welcome. If you are a car junkie, this is your show. Wow, it's already 20 minutes before we get to to the pulse, and we've got a lot to cover. We're just talking about how, the infotainment in your car system has gotten smarter. Taf was just highlighting how you can give it voice commands, and I was just checking with you if that means you have to train the voice commands. But have you noticed with our own cell phones right now, if you have a discussion right now on anything, let's say we happen to mention Marvin Gaye, have you noticed that sometimes your algorithm starts to then bring you information or pointers that have got something to do with Marvin Gaye or whatever it is that you're discussing, almost as if our devices are listening to us? Now, I'm wondering, once we start to have this technology in the car, I'm feeling a little bit uneasy and unsafe about this, Tanaka. I don't know how you feel about this.
Now they're coming with what we call entry mode. So what happens with the car, you've got all these voice commands and everything. It's got a hard drive. It keeps all your behavior in a hard drive. I feel where you're coming from. It's basically if someone hacks into your car, then they can now know, okay, you were talking about this with your car, or you're talking about going there with your car. So on the security part, it's very, very worrying if someone manages to hack. I know they've come up with the different ways of encryption, but anything can happen. Someone can just hack into your car and say, oh, FoLake was talking about this, or she was talking about going to this place. It's like someone will be watching you all the time. I remember there's a song, it's called I was here and feel someone is watching me. That song. If you listen to that song, that's what's happening to us now. Because now our cars, we get to talk to them. We got AI in our cars, and they keep information about us. Once it's passed, it's recording everything. So,
this is sounding very, very unsafe. Taf feels safe by this, but I'm not feeling safe at all.
Well, I like it. I like the fact that you don't have to. What they call them routines now, and this is in cars and in tech. That the more you do something, the car learns it, and during the time when you usually do something, it automates it itself. And I think in a driving sense, anything that takes away that extra thinking or the extra necessary step to do something, and allows you to focus more on just the task of driving, is a good thing. So I like the whole connected car idea. Fine, it presents a lot of cases about are these things prying into us, but the truth of the matter is, as long as you have a digital device, in most cases a phone, when you slide that little agree button, you're agreeing to it. So there's only one way to completely avoid yourself off it, which is drive a much older car and leave your phone at home. We are stuck in this one way or another. It's how it's used. Which is
I don't know. 0719 100 404. How are you feeling about this? And we've been speaking about this. Our cars are fast becoming Michael Knight's cars, where they are becoming intelligent, and we are still, trying to unpack what that truly means for us. Tanaka, we also know that you have your fair share of exciting news that's been happening. Talk to us about the controversy that's been taking over hybrid batteries.
It's been something that's been for the past year now. We're bringing in cars, second-hand cars, and it's the battery that's going to be in the car. You don't know what the battery health is. Is the battery still new? Is it old? Is it on its way out? So we've had a lot of these issues coming in, even brand new cars. They say that it's going to have 8 years, 10-year battery warranty. What if it doesn't make it to that time? So there's been a bit of big controversy on that part.
Yeah.
And we something I think that can even being about saying no, don't buy this, do this. And there's different types of batteries in cars now. There's lithium ion cars, hydrate, the solid state, which is coming up very soon.
Yeah. All right. And so, but that is a great question. Like when you import a car from outside the country, right? It's secondhand. It's had this battery for a while. What do we do once it's here?
Nothing. Because remember, these batteries, when they're made from new, they've got a warranty period. They've got 6 to 7 years. So you're buying a 2016 car, we're in 2025. And you're expecting that battery to perform the same it performed when it was bought. Obviously, there's lots of battery health. But I've noticed most cars that are coming now, people don't even enjoy the hybrid because they think, no, that's how it's supposed to work. Sometimes it's not how it's supposed to work. And these cars have different types of batteries. There's the ones, because I had someone this other day saying, can I take this battery out of my car and use it in my house for solar powering? These batteries are different. And you have to understand when you're buying a car, like a hybrid vehicle, you have to know what battery is coming and the year of the car when you're buying it.
Right.
Like I know Taf and them are selling brand new hybrid cars. It's something that I've been encouraging people to do now. You know what? Second, if you buy, make sure you recondition the battery.
Yeah.
Because see the difference. You just say a hybrid car is just a gimmick.
Yeah. 0719 100 404. If you have any questions, you certainly can be a part of our discussion right here. We're talking all things to do with the automotive industry. We're curious to hear your thoughts. Good morning, welcome to Capital. Good morning, welcome to Capital. So, Tanaka, you highlighted something interesting there. You spoke about how, people might have the temptation to remove the battery from the car and put it in the house. Can I ask, is it actually possible to use the solar battery on your car? I know that sounds weird, scary to say, but is that imaginable, unimaginable?
Okay, well, how a battery technology on cars is different from the ones that you use. Yes, they might be the same lithium ion, but what happens is, those lithium ion batteries you have in your house, for example, you might need 30 to 64 to use in your car. Because in the car, remember, the batteries that are in the car can actually power a house. So remember, you have 2 lithium-ion batteries in your house. They're not able, the 62, let's say the 50 AH batteries, they're not able to power the car. So yes, there's a possibility on electric vehicles. You can take the battery, put them in a little metal box and whatever, and do the whole modification and use them in your house.
Yeah.
They're not depleted. But you can't take the whole battery and just connect it in your house. You can't do that.
Okay. All right. Got you. Just in case you're guilty out there of using your solar battery on your car or vice versa, we are watching you. No, I'm kidding. Also, Tanaka, you today, I think, are giving us our car icon of the day. As always, we get to throw at you a classic car. You get to guess what the classic car is. 0719 100 404. So give us your first set of clues, Tanaka.
Okay, it's an enthusiastic car. It's been an all-rounder in the motorsport, drag, circuit, and was a very popular car in World Rally Championship. The popular traditional color was blue and white.
Okay.
And that's the only clues I can give for now.
All right. 0719 100 404. Those are your clues. Blue and white. Drag racer's car made from Japan. Taf was like, oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think I know it.
In guy speak. Let's see if you can figure out what that car is. Interestingly, Tanaka, talk to us about the Zimbabwe International Representation in Electronical Standards. What's happening in our automotive industry? A school is coming up, did you say?
Yes. I was selected to become a member of the committee. It's a committee that was set up under the Standards Association of Zimbabwe and International Standards Association to look at all the electrical components that we are using in motor vehicles, the safety, and what you need to carry when you're owning a hybrid, because they are planning to phase out petrol cars and diesel cars by 2027. Most manufacturers, that's why you've seen a lot of hybrid cars now being made.
Yeah.
So I'm a member of that for checking quality, safety, and all that stuff on the cars. And yes, there's a new school that's coming, an automotive school that's going to be training people to learn about every new technology that we are learning about in cars. Not spark, not what you call it, that four-stroke engine anymore. We're not going to be learning that anymore. Internal combustion, hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and electric. That's what the school is going to be teaching, and it's going to start from 10 years old to whatever age you want to.
I'm loving the idea of the school coming up, but just let's rewind a little bit around the idea of 2027 phasing out fossil fuel energy. I think it's unrealistic, and I think it's unlikely that's going to happen, although I appreciate the move and the effort that's being made. Taf, you are in the car business as well. Is it likely that 2027 we're going to see a total phase out of fossil engines?
No, we won't see a total phasing out of these engines. What we will see is a lot more hybrids and plug-in hybrids coming onto the market. We'll still have your traditional diesel and petrol options. They'll still be available for a much, much longer time after that. But I would say from about just personally, I'll think from about 2040, you will start to see that the numbers will strongly suggest that your electric vehicles, hybrid electric and PHEV vehicles start to dominate the market. And you see less and less of your petrol and diesels.
Yeah. But they're not going to be phased out. I don't think...
Not in Africa, not by 2027. No.
And Japan also, not even necessarily 2027, Japan also was I think we spoke about this, is not going towards zero.
Toyota famously said they will produce your internal combustion engines up until the point where it is completely illegal.
Right.
So they're going to make them.
And also, speaking of making them illegal, Tanaka, who has the power to actually make them illegal? I get it from a global point of view. We may pressurize countries in terms of trying to get them to produce less fossil fuel engines, but really to say it's illegal for me feels unrealistic and unlikely, Tanaka.
Let me be very honest with you on a committee member point of view.
Yes.
Those vehicles that are coming now, they're called mild hybrids. You might not know that they're hybrids, but they're actually coming as mild hybrids because of emission rating. So what happens is there's a global body that consists of the United Nations Environment Program, a global body for the automotive industry.
Right.
So if you look at it this way, why China has become so dominant? It's not because they are making affordable vehicles now. They're making affordable vehicles with technology. They are making cars that are going to be relevant in the future. If you notice, Toyota is mostly going on hybrid. They said they've got the Hilux hybrid. All their makes now are hybrid. They're slowly pushing in the hybrid because they know by that time these global bodies are going to say, look, anyone who's making a vehicle that has high emissions or emission ratings like this, for production. So it's going to happen gradually. And like what Taf says, yes, realistically around 2040. But on a committee base, they are pushing it very quickly for it to happen in 2027 or 2028. Because Norway already 90%, they drive hybrid and electric vehicles, even trucks.
Yeah, and I think, to support this, I think Tanaka brings a strong point. And I'll try to bring another angle to the argument as well. If I buy a diesel or petrol car today, right now, in 2025, is brand new. I'm taking the plastics off when I get home. You can't tell me that in, let's just say 5 years, I can't drive that car. No, that now creates another different legal route that maybe a consumer can take for protection. They have to protect the people who have purchased these vehicles as new. They have duty of care to support me for at least another 10 years beyond. And I find that most vehicles get support for about 15 years. So let's think about the people who are buying brand new internal combustion engines today. You can't just take a hard stance and say, guys, sorry, your car is now something that can be driven the road, emissions. There will be a process to it, but Tanaka was completely right that these guys are looking at it from a future perspective. Start introducing them now so that in the future the numbers make sense and there's more of the correct or emission friendly or the hybrid or electrified vehicles to justify them now putting a hard stance on actually abolishing maybe ICE vehicles.
0719-100-404. If you have any questions, particularly around your hybrid battery, do come through and let us know what questions you might have about the car industry and what we've been talking about today. Tanaka, remind us again which car icon we're trying to guess this morning by giving us your clues again. And also, we need your help, Tanaka, because you are a fan of EVs. You are pushing, our consideration around hybrid batteries. I wanted you to help us figure out how we can also tell signs of a failing hybrid battery, especially for most of us who are importing second-hand cars. So you got to give us your highway code question and then just walk us through what you can tell in terms of signs of a failing hybrid battery.
Signs of a failing battery is usually your engine kicks in quicker than it's supposed to be. Because the car is different, come in different hybrid modes. There's one that comes when you're driving 60 kilometers and below. It's supposed to be using the battery only, and it can travel using the battery only for maybe 50 to 60 kilometers distance. If you see that your car, you're driving 60 kilometers and below, and not pushing 50 to 60 kilometers distance, then your battery is about to fail.
Right.
You're at least supposed to do maybe 30 kilometers or 40 kilometers distance at a speed of 60 kilometers and below. So that's CBD driving. And then on the highway, you're supposed to get at least 3 liters to 4 liters per kilometer. Oh, sorry, per 100 kilometers.
I was sitting there and I was like, loud, 3, yikes. Okay, thank you for that.
So it's okay. Let's say 1 liter per 20k.
All right, got you. Okay, got you. Or
the car, blue, used to be a World Rally Championship. Won the World Rally Championship 4 times in a row. It was made in Japan, and it was popular also in circuit racing, popular also in drag racing, and in Zimbabwe it had a nickname called Team Turbo.
Okay, so those are your clues. You've got 4 minutes to see if you can come through. Tough. Do you still think you know what it is?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you know what it is? Okay.
100%.
And also, Tanaka, in your experience, how then can we see, are there practices we should be, as drivers, using to help us prolong the life cycle of these batteries?
I said, like last week what I said, Zimbabwe has the potential to actually recycle these batteries. Because we've got a bit of technical knowledge about them. One, you just have to maintain them. Make sure that the fans within the battery are always clean. The coolant, your coolant is always clean. You just regularly take it with your car. When the battery is on its way out, take it to a technician. They can take it out. They can take out the cells, the bad cells, then put new cells. So you can actually maintain that battery for a very long time. Because what you do, let's say it's for 5 cells. If 3 cells are bad, you take out 3 cells and put 3 new cells. You still have the 2 old ones functioning.
So there's been a very interesting question here, albeit controversial. I'm going to throw the question out. We can tackle it maybe next week when we have more time. Taf, I want to see, do you know what the car is, that Tanaka? Do you want to hazard a guess to what the car icon is?
I can hazard a guess.
Okay.
It's a Subaru WRX.
Tanaka, is he right?
He's 100% right.
Oh, wow. Wow.
FoLake was doubting me a lot.
I was sweating on your behalf to see if you were able to get it, but yes. Okay, well done. Oh, okay. I'm impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed. Okay, great. What's our highway code question, Taf, in the next 2 minutes that we have? And then I'm going to throw the question, a bit of a controversial one.
No problem at all. So the highway question goes like this. Are you allowed to cross a solid white line if an emergency vehicle is approaching from either the front or the back of your vehicle.
So it's a yes or no question.
Yes.
All right.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Ray comes in, and Ray, you're trying to start fires in a sense, but it's a great question. So Ray says, can you confirm the invention of converting radio waves to kinetic and electric energy, based on a car that we saw recently? So I'm leaving it here for now, but it is a great question because we're talking about technology developments within the car industry and what this could mean for us. So I've thrown this out. We can discuss this later because we don't have time. We've got 2 minutes, but I think it is a great question. I will let you know that I have reached out to the voices involved to say we want to talk about this, and I think in the fullness of time, they will come on themselves. But I think in principle, we will explore the science behind the car technology. 0719-10404. Curious to know if you can figure out, is it a yes or a no question for a highway go question? And then we were talking earlier about Dan from Rua, and he was telling us about how he missed one part of his pair of shoes. Sounds very interesting. So we're checking with him, what did he do with the other shoe that he left? Because for like in 2015 when we were renovating our homestead, the funniest part is it's today the kind of musha my brothers angu would come together around me vachibvunza hanzina did he say kuvire kujinga kwegomo richinzi kugoronga. Okay, I don't think it's my shona, I think it's your shona. No, it's not my shona. So yeah, he's just simply saying, and so vana baba vavo vanongoti munozotaimira bamnini dende panoya vogokudza ekuti sei tichiti goronga ravo. Actually, it had become one of the old tales. I hate speaking about it because it's a long story to explain, but thank you, Danny, for letting us know. He also then sends us a picture and says, in 2050 I will still be driving my fossil fuel powered engine. And he sends us a picture of like 5,000 police cars wheel chasing him because chimota chake chishev white smoke.
It won't be the police, it'll be the green police.
It'll be the green police. It's 12 o'clock. It's time for the news. Tanaka, thank you so much. We will touch base with you next week. We also wanted your contact details, but let's do that next week so that we have time to get them. Taf, also thank you so much for coming in. No one has gotten right your highway code question. We'll deal with it next week.